Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a really deep psychological concept, something that helps us understand the difference between our everyday feelings and those all-consuming states of being. We're going to talk about emotions versus what psychoanalysts call mental states of totality.
So, let's just start with a question you've probably asked yourself at some point. Why is it that some feelings just kind of come and go, while others, they seem to take over your entire world, just blotting out everything else? It's a really common experience, and believe it or not, the answer takes us all the way back to the very beginning of our lives.
Psychoanalyst Juha Klaavu, whose work we're exploring today, he puts it this way. He calls it a holistic experience, which fills the baby's experiential universe. And that phrase right there, experiential universe, that's the key. We're not just talking about having a bad day. We're talking about an entire reality being reshaped.
Okay, so to really get our heads around these all-consuming feelings, we have to draw a really clear line between two different kinds of inner experiences. You've got your everyday emotions, the ones we all know, and then you have these much more intense mental states of totality.
So what exactly is a mental state of totality? Well, think of it as this, a completely overwhelming state where every single feeling you have, good or bad, it all just merges into one single all-encompassing experience. It's not just a part of your world. It literally is your world in that moment.
And this contrast is just so important. See, as we grow up, our minds get better at handling individual emotions. We can feel sad or angry or happy, and we learn to manage it. But these states of totality, they are a whole different beast. They're overwhelming, they're raw, and they operate on a level that our adult brain isn't always ready for.
To really understand where these states come from, we have to go back in time, and I mean way back. We're going to look at how they're first formed in the earliest, most vulnerable stages of life, inside what you could call an infant's undivided world.
So this all starts during what psychoanalytic theory calls the symbiotic stage. This is a window in early infancy, kicking off at around 2 months old, where a baby's mind and body are basically one with their caregivers. There's just no clear sense of me versus not me.
And for a baby in this state, there's absolutely no separation between themselves and their experience. Hunger isn't a feeling they are having. Hunger is their entire reality. Comfort isn't something they get, it is the universe. A feeling, quite literally, is everything.
Now this sense of totality, it creates two completely distinct opposing realities for the baby. Experience gets split into these all or nothing states. It's either a universe of absolute paradise or a universe of absolute pain.
So on one side, you have total paradise. This is that state where the baby feels safe, loved, and all their needs are met. It's a universe of pure bliss. But on the flip side, there's the pain universe. This is the state of abandonment, or hunger, or fear. And it's not just discomfort, it's a feeling of absolute terror and of falling apart.
Klaavu's description here is just incredibly powerful. He says, his experiential universe is pure pain into which his being disintegrates. This is not the kind of anxiety an adult feels. This is an experience of annihilation, of your very self just crumbling. It's a feeling of total destruction that feels like it will never, ever end.
Now, an experience that intense is, by its very nature, completely unbearable for a tiny, developing mind. So the mind has to do something. It has to protect itself. And it develops these incredibly powerful defense mechanisms to shield itself from being totally overwhelmed.
The mind basically copes in two primary ways. The first is dissociation. With this one, an unbearable state is experienced, but then the mind cuts it out to protect the conscious self. The second, non-integration, is even more wild. The mind actually rejects the painful state before it can even be fully felt or registered.
But, and this is so important to get, these experiences don't just vanish. They're not deleted. They are simply blocked, pushed down deep into the unconscious mind, where they just continue to exist right outside of our awareness.
And that right there leads us to the impact today. How do these buried, ancient states keep affecting us as adults? Well, they become these echoes from the unconscious, and they can shape our lives in ways we don't even recognize.
This quote really captures a core idea in psychotherapy.
The less you know about something in your own mind, the more power it has over you. These unfelt, unconscious states have the freedom to influence our reactions, our relationships, our whole sense of self, all without our permission.
This visual really shows you the power dynamic. Think of your mind like an iceberg. The tiny little tip that you see above the water, that's your conscious mind. But the huge, massive part underneath the surface, the unconscious, that's where these powerful early states live. And they're exerting this immense influence on everything.
So how does this actually show up in adult life? Well, have you ever had a feeling that was just wildly out of proportion to what was happening? Or a sudden, unexplained wave of dread or emptiness that comes out of nowhere? Maybe you've reacted in a way that felt totally alien, almost like someone else was in the driver's seat. These can all be signs of those early states of totality breaking through into the present.
So, what on earth can you do about this? Well, the final step, and really the whole goal of a lot of therapeutic work, is to bring these powerful forces out of the shadows and into the light of your conscious awareness.
To put it as simply as possible, the goal is to make the unconscious conscious. It's about carefully and safely getting to know the parts of ourselves that we were forced to block off for our own survival all those years ago.
And the payoff for this work is huge. By making these states conscious, we start to develop the capacity to actually bear them. We learn to see them for what they are, just echoes of an infant's pain universe, and we can separate them from our adult, everyday feelings. They no longer have the power to swallow our entire world whole.
And that leaves us with one final provocative question to take with you. As you go about your life, just think about this. What total states from your past might be shaping your present? The answer, well, it could be the key to a much deeper understanding of who you are.